Ready?
Yep. Roll them. Take one.
DJ Smallwood here at Sling Dirt Media. Again, made it back here at the shop here in Oakwood, Illinois, sitting down with the legend, Bob Pierce. Bob, man, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming over. Pretty cool.
This place is kind of nothing at all what I pictured.
Well, it's a lot of add together, add on, put together, never really finished. Because actually half of it I've done myself. So if you build race cars, you can build a building.
You can build about anything.
But we're always in a hurry, always got to work. So a lot of times you look around, you see a lot of the trim is not up. If trim's up, it's not painted. But hey, it's workable. There it is.
That doesn't hold you up from building race cars.
No, they were to slow me down a bit.
I was fortunate enough in my career, I had two Pierce chassis. I ran two Pierce cars.
You told me that, yeah.
Both of them were great cars. I loved my favorite one was probably the first car I had. It was chassis number 12.
Oh, yeah.
It was an old square tube.
Old square tube car. Yeah, 2x2.
Yeah, that thing was awesome.
Yeah.
I was extremely surprised. We got tore up, and I found somebody had a Pierce car for sale. I'm like, man, price is good, not far away. I'll go ahead and get it. I did. We brought it in the shop, switch everything over. Even the rivet holes from the body lined up with this thing. I could not believe this. It was like a 10-year difference in cars. So it was like a 2011 car, and everything just bolted right up.
And that's pretty rare because, like right now they're being lasered. There is holes already and everything in line. But back then, I think I had the same, between me doing sheet metal and the guys I had them for a long time. And I think we just kind of knew right where every hole had to be without measuring, and we was probably hitting them pretty darn close.
You were hitting them very close.
It just because you get in that rhythm, and we're day in, day out doing this stuff. Because when you got that car there, it was right before our round tube car, so we were probably just starting to do about 50 to 80 cars a year, which switched real quick to over 100 or something.
Real quick.
When Billy Vaughn come along, that's when the 100-somes hit.
The sales went up.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, really good. Really good.
That boy can put a car on a racetrack.
Oh, yeah. Vaughn could get up on the wheel.
Yeah. So you were no stranger to getting up on the wheel either. Tell us about that. How did you get started and when?
I started racing in 1969. I was 17. And
what were the cars like back then?
Well, you went to the junkyard, pulled an old frame out, or it'd be a 57 frame or a Chevelle frame, whatever, you guys wanted to do back then. And, half the time you put a cage on it and, set a Camaro on it or a Nova or like a 67 or 8 Chevelle body. And everybody was in the mode back when I first started racing. They was trying to get everything low, like all the big, tall Chevelles, they were cut down, so you had kind of low-built cars. But it just went from kind of like stock cars to a stock car with big tires and big motors when I got going. Because when I was a kid watching my uncle race, that's where the number came from. They were just, they were stock cars, skinny tires, and they had some big motors, but nothing like what we ended up doing. But and that's what got me interested again, go back to racing, because I kind of got away from them. My uncle quit. And when I saw them cars with the big tires and big motors and all that crap, I was like, oh, man, these things are pretty cool.
Right.
And, here we go, no money, but I just became a body man that year, and I was making a little bit of money. At least I had a paycheck.
Yeah.
And here we go. I go junkyard to get an old frame. And
so is that what you did for trade before?
I did that. A lot of people know me from driving a beer truck.
Okay.
But that was later on. So from 17 till I was 28. Almost 30, I guess. I got a local beer sponsor for my race car. It was ended up being Busch Beer.
Yeah.
And within a few months, the owner said, hey, why don't you come work for us? Because he started reading these racing papers about this race, that race, and NDRA was big at that time. I didn't have no money. And I could win some races around home, but I wasn't that level. But he thought I was. Okay, so long story short, he said, look, come work for me. You go them big races.
Yeah. First
question, how can I work for you all day long and still go to the race? And I didn't know back then, but the delivery routes weren't all day. But they let them go home when they got done. So, of course, with Florence, how far that is. You just came that way. They had them Wednesday night specials back in the day. So I could get off work, shoot there, race, get back, still be worked by 7, 8 o'clock next day. And that slowly started everything happening. And long story short, 10 years of driving a beer truck, I probably, if you add up all the years I raced and what I took off to go race, because I was in Georgia and Alabama, and here we go, maybe 6 years total. But that got me to meet the Dependable carburetor people out of Chicago, and we went to Florida in that February, and we won a lot of races down there. I mean, like a lot. Jacksonville, Putnamville, Lake City. And we come back, and my boss says, hey, why don't you see if they want to race full time? I think you can do it. With that bunch, I could. There was money there. And I go, nah, they probably won't do that. Well, I'm on the route. My boss calls these people and said, hey, you got to hire this guy full time to drive that race car full time.
Yeah.
I don't know this. I get done from the route. He says, hey, call Dependable people. They got to talk to you. I think, oh, no, I'm fired already. What happened here? He says, no, you got to go up there. You're going to race full time for him. I said, how do you know? He goes, well, I called him today. I said, you did it? So I go up there. We made a deal. Boom. I worked that week, left work, and never looked back. Full-time racing since 1990. So here I am.
1990. That's a big transition.
Big transition.
Great transition. So 1990, the Dependable car, that's probably one of the first. I think I may vaguely remember seeing pictures and stuff of the Busch car.
Yeah.
But the Dependable car, that was iconic. When I was a kid growing up, that was.
Yeah.
You
well,
knew it was coming.
It's because the way it was labeled up, you know. And this car here, Bobby's remake on it, is a little bit different because they always had the Dependable really, really big. Yeah. And the number was either back on a quarter panel or really small because they wanted that Dependable carburetor to be really large. And it just kind of stood out, I think, and a lot of people didn't know about the people. Of course, you know, being out in Chicago, they race this local, you know, like Kankakee and Santa Fe and yada, yada. But, I mean, Little John Provenzano was their main driver at that time, and he would go to the World, he'd go to Phoenix City. But, I mean, they would never really star. I mean, they weren't really running that good when they went. And luck would have it, I mean, so I got with them. We won a few races right off the bat, and I run second at West Virginia Motor the second time I drove the car. Jack Boggs won the show. And we go to Phoenix City at the end of the year, and I run fifth, which I'd been there before back in the day. But anyway, run fifth, and like I said, went to Florida, and bang, bang, boom.
Yeah.
So
you think about, like, in your career. I mean, I know you've seen, gosh, look at the amount of changes you've seen in the cars. But not only that, like some of the drivers and the guys that you've raced against, like the Jack Boggs, Jeff Purvis, you know, back in the day, you and Bloomquist having some races, like melee races.
Yeah, well, I say it's a lot of people, and this not too long ago. I'm very blessed with racing. For one, got a chance to do it for a living. That's the biggest thing right there. And I was in that transition stage where, you know, Freddie Smith, Leon Archer from down south, you know, not just Jack, but I mean Larry Moore, my hero, buddy, if you see this, from your area. And I mean, just, you know, go through that bunch. Then Jeff Purvis comes along. Yeah. He was kind of like the Bobby of that era. Yeah. And then not too long after that, here comes Donnie Moran. Here comes Bart Hartman. Yeah. I mean, Darrell Lanigan. So I got the older guys going out, so to speak, but I got to race with them. Yeah. And here come these young guys, a bunch of these Bobbies coming in. Yeah. And I got to race with them too. And of course, well, same thing, you know, Shannon Babb. He was young to the sport. Sure. I never got a chance to race with Shirley, but Shirley came in right before Bobby got racing. So, I mean, I seen a lot of driver transitions and from wedge cars to back to these bodies. I did the Stars racing when they had the stock body. Yeah. I don't know. It's just pretty cool. I got to do all that and see, and still involved with it. My son, to watch all this chassis change that we went through since I started from this old basic leaf springs to here we are.
Do you have a favorite era of cars? Like you mentioned, like the stock, really stock appearing Camaro looking bodies to the wedge cars and the real boxy stuff like the Stars days. Do you have a favorite era car that you like the best? Yeah. Well, I do, because, you know, being a car builder, and I always built my own stuff before C.J. Rayburn started. We call them store-bought cars. Came along, you know, I built all my frames with Camaro clips and square tubing and, you know, all that kind of crap. So I liked to be able to do that. Right. And I went through that era when Rayburn just got going in late 81 and 82, that we could do whatever we wanted to do. And that's how the wedge car happened, because there wasn't any rules. So, you know, bigger, wider, longer, spoilers, side spoilers, yada yada, and you know, we're nailed to the ground because of this thing. Right. And all the suspension changed. You know, we went from the stock leafs to monoleafs to coilovers,
and the swing arm car hit, and then 4-bar stuff. And I think me and Billy Moyer was the first one in the 90s, early. Well, it might have been before that. It was, golly, late 80s, 90s. Yeah, it was late 80s, like 87, 88. They had a 4-bar car.
Had a 4-bar car.
And so, that's the era I liked because you could do whatever you could think of.
Sure, ingenuity.
Yeah, you didn't have to go pay $100,000 and buy it for somebody or charge some engineer, pay some engineer to come in and do it. You just torch it, cut it, saw it, weld it,
make it work.
Yeah.
And you've seen and drove and built cars from both of those eras where you've seen the change go from where, man, you build your own stuff and can make it work to, I mean, a lot of guys build stuff now, but it's a lot of guys buy stuff and bolt on. So it's not necessarily the ingenuity like it used to be. It's buying stuff now.
Well, and yourself, because you being involved in this like you were there or are, with Lucas and World Outlaw keeping us in this box right now.
Yeah.
A lot of people will call it IROC racing, whatever you might call it. But I mean, they're keeping us trapped to where we can't really overthink. Mm-hmm. We can think hard what we got, but we can't change a lot or they won't let us do it.
Yeah.
And I know it's because of money and cost, but some of this stuff don't cost that much. And there's guys that do design some kind of piece and then they want to make $100,000 or $50,000 off or whatever. That's what hurt it. If you got a $20 part, you ain't got to sell it for $150.
Right.
It's a $20 part. But they took all that away from us, and it's some people say, I made it racing better. Well, there's hardly a guy with a runaway, but you're always going to have them guys that's going to have that. Like Bobby had that year.
Yeah.
Jack Boggs had his year. Scott Bloomquist had his years.
Yeah.
Billy Moyer had his years.
Yep.
We're just not going to beat them guys.
No.
It's going to be a time you're not going to beat them guys. And it ain't like they found a magic wand underneath their car. It's just their time.
Yeah.
And they're never going to stop that, no matter what they do to us. But that's what it is.
I feel like those days, like Scott's, there were times, no matter where Scott started in the field at Eldora, you couldn't count him out. Right. He could have won from anywhere.
Yeah.
And now I kind of feel like we're in the era of, man, if you don't start maybe in the first 4 or 5 rows, it's very. I don't think you're going to see those wins come from the back much anymore, like you used to. Every now and then you'll get one of those, or those could still happen, but I think it's more rare that you're going to see that nowadays.
It really is, and like with me and Bobby racing, we know there's certain racetracks that you better start up front, not because they're going to rubber up, but I mean there's going to be a lane that's going to be the fast lane.
Right.
And if you don't have a track that's got a, like I said, Peebley's got a top, got a bottom. You're just kind of hung there,
there's not room to pass.
Right, and it ain't the car; it's how they do the track. And I believe that these cars have evolved to where they are so quick that these track prep guys isn't ready for that.
Right.
A good example is what Rick, that was running Davenport so long.
Yeah.
He's like, I can have modified race, stock car race, but you guys come. And you use the whole racetrack.
The whole track.
I get done. You guys get done. I look at the track. Goes, how'd they put a groove there? How'd they make a groove down there? Because they race. They race everywhere. So if that track prep guy isn't ready for these cars, he could have a bad race.
Sure.
And it's not the cars.
Right.
And I ain't putting these track guys under the bus, throwing under the bus. But that's just what's happening now.
And that's something that has changed with. As much maybe as the cars have, the guys that used to prep the track one way, the cars are way different. So the track that you used to have 10, 15 years ago, these cars don't like that track, and you got to have a different track now.
Yeah. Well, I was talking about Rick Kye. I'm sorry, I forgot his last name for a second there. But you need to talk to him sometime if you can in an interview, and just ask him that question. Say, what are these cars doing to the racetracks that Bob said that they're so different, and you told him that my track just didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to because of these cars. He'll have a good explanation about it because he works hard at it and he understands it. So
he's good.
Yeah.
Speaking of Davenport, it was mentioned to me like that track has changed. It used to be the big track. Now it's cut down and it's a smaller version. I was told that, man, if they opened that place up and they ran back on the big track, that place would be packed. People would be everywhere.
That's a 50-50 question there because as a lot of the racers, don't really like that big half mile because first of all, it's not wide enough. And Rick did make it wider the last time we did race on the half. And he brought the bottom down, so it did help some. But it's just got such long straightaways at that one.
Yeah.
You know, it ain't like your Eldora half mile. It's just, you know, not like Volusia. But, I mean, it's like the old fairground style.
Right.
Long straightaways like Terre Haute, Indiana over here.
Yeah.
And then you got the curve, you know, 90 degree. It's hard to put on a good race with everybody racing together because it's just so big, gets so strung out. But I don't know. You know, I know there's guys that miss it.
Yeah.
That's run real well there. I had no problem with it back in the day. I ran a couple thirds and fourths there against Scott and Billy and those guys. But I mean, I think far as driver, I think Bobby feels this too. Something smaller in a 3/8 design is this more racier.
Sure.
More racier. Of course, you know, all these guys like big racetracks, a big motor, and get out front and drive away. Well, yeah,
but that doesn't always mean better racing.
Right,
the
better
bigger
racing.
track, faster speed doesn't always mean better racing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Gosh, where do you go from that? The guys that you race against and the tracks that did you have a favorite event or a favorite track that look forward to on your schedule back when you're in your prime? Man, I can't wait to get back to this place. I know I'm going to do good there. It's just my favorite track.
Yeah, you know, and I don't know why, but I've always liked Brownstown, Indiana.
Okay.
And I've always liked Florence.
Yeah.
You know, and West Plains, which these cars I don't feel is that good at West Plains, but the tracks that had some slick to them, not like super hooked up, where Florence always had it in between, had a little traction, had the slick. Brownstown would get that wide clay slick, and then of course West Plains was just like ice. You know what I'm saying? But you could race all over the darn thing because you know our cars back then, before all this spring behind and all the aerodynamic shit's going on right now, we could just drive them cars. We drove them cars.
Right.
We drove them in places where like, okay, don't work here, we're gonna move over here. These things, they get like a fine line, and yeah, you can go up there and do it, but you might lose 3 spots.
Right.
You know, and you got to find a spot these cars like. It's hard to do maneuver around like we used to maneuver around. Because, I mean, me and Moyer talk about it a lot. We're still old buddies, and Scott too. It's like we could just scoot our butt around the seat a little bit
and change the car.
Bend the thing a little bit and change everything. Yeah, never come in and change the spring. So, but no, I mean, and I always liked Eldora. My bit with Eldora when I was over there, I was on my own for so long before I got with Dependable carburetor. I never had enough motor to get around that place back in our day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, when me and Angie got together and we got all of our equipment back where we owned all our stuff the last 4 or 5 years I raced, and we, you know, won the North-South that year and about won the world. You know, led that thing over halfway, and then the door come loose and all that stuff that everybody knows about. That was probably, you know, I've always run good at Eldora. I don't know how many heat races I won at that place. I started on the front row. I can't even count how many.
Right.
But, I mean, I had a 3rd place there. I had a 4th place there, and I have a couple 5ths.
Right.
But, I mean, that night there, that was the night I was probably going to be okay and definitely win the deal. And then
is this the one where the right rear came loose?
No, actually the left front fender.
Okay.
Left front fender come peeling off.
I feel like I remember a World 100, and it was maybe a lap or 2 to go, or might have been coming to checkered, and the right rear just came apart and took out the whole right side of the car, half the decking and everything.
Well, if you want to go, well,
or maybe I'm thinking maybe it wasn't she.
Well, I don't know if you would have been there back then, but actually in '93.
Okay.
I was driving for Steve McCullough.
Okay.
Which Bobby? Who am I thinking of? Drove Steve McCullough, won the Dream. Matt Miller.
Oh yeah,
Matt Miller. Miller ended up driving for him after I'd left, but Billy had fast time, and he didn't make it to the show, so he got him by provisional.
Okay.
We won the Consi, so me and him started in the back, and we're the only 2 on soft tires. And he'd pick 2 cars off, and I'd get 1. He'd get 1, I'd get 2. He'd get 2, I'd get 1. And we'd come working through the field. And if this is what you're thinking about, and he got the lead, and I'm in 3rd, and I just passed John Gill for 2nd in the middle of 3 and 4, and I cut a right rear.
Yeah.
And it did what you said. It took the deck out, and then Gill just assholed me. I mean, he blew. He had nowhere to go.
He had nowhere to go.
And his drove clear under me, but. If that's one, because there wasn't many laps to go.
Yes.
Now I don't think I could have caught Billy, but we were as fast. Each of us was fast.
Yeah.
He was. he was probably taking more chances because he's
Yeah.
won that thing before, and I'm trying to win my first one,
Yeah.
and so I'm trying to be a little
won a few
careful.
of
But yeah, oh yeah, you did. So, but that could have been that one. If that's what
I
I'm
think
thinking.
that's
That could
exactly
have been
the
it.
one I was thinking
Yeah.
of. I
All
was
right.
sitting. This would have been back. This was before the the long wall when you're walking towards the old bar.
Yep.
The main grandstands. If you're coming out of turn 4, they had that wall with the fence up there.
Yep.
Before it was numbered off, you could sit or stand on that. Or
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, before it was numbered.
Yep.
I mean, you still do it now, but
Yep.
this was before those were numbered, and that's where we set. Like me and Josh King. That's where we started going up
Okay.
there, and we would get those spots, and we loved it because you could see just about
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And I just remember you coming off a 4, and that thing just coming
Well, that was
apart
it.
and
Then.
taking off.
That's
the
the
car.
one. Yeah, that's the one I should have, could have. That's why I tell Argabright and I tell Bill. That name was Bill's last name. He used to work for Stock Car Magazine. I said, you need to make a book or get a book out. And I mean, I don't care if it's Larry Moore, Scott Bloomquist, or me, and write about the ones that got away.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It'd be a thick book.
Oh, yeah.
Because all of us guys has got them ones.
Yeah.
You know, we almost got that.
Some of
one.
them got
Almost
maybe more than one.
Oh man, I'll tell you, we've, this like, we'll get talking for 4 hours here, but kind of like Jackson 100. I've had so many seconds there, and then
Yeah.
of course Bobby ends up winning Jackson 100 finally. So that's another one I never have got, So, but it's just, that's always something.
So let's talk about, we talked about the tracks and how they have changed because the cars have changed, so they race different. So like, I don't know, you go back 15, 20 years ago, Florence Speedway, the black slick that it was, man, it was top to bottom like black ice. Mm-hmm. How would a car like this handle on something like that?
Well, I mean, we've advanced in these cars, since now we're going on probably 20 years on this style of suspension, but
Sure.
now the shocks has really evolved since then. We can get these things to go around slick pretty well. I mean, it takes a lot of load number changing and
Right.
just spring combinations.
Right.
Because like I said earlier, me and Morris said we just wiggle around the seat and we could adjust from tacky to slick, and
Yeah.
now you change the spring. You better be changing springs and load numbers on these things
Sure.
like crazy. I mean, in
Yeah.
a big hurry. Of course, we proved that at Charlotte. We proved that down there at Golden Isles when we just didn't adjust quick enough
Yeah.
to get to where we needed to be.
Yeah.
And
Florence with a cushion.
yeah, for the cushion. Yeah. Because I mean, I'm talking '88 when I won the Ralph Latham race. I beat Scott in that race, and I did it on the cushion. What cushion was there at that time? Because there usually wasn't
Yeah.
one. Wasn't one. But he had the bottom covered, and I knew there was no place else to go.
Right.
And I knew Scott, but not well at that time yet. And I'm just a local guy racing Farmer City and Fairbury around this area, and we decided to, like we're big dogs, and go over there and
Yeah.
end up winning that damn thing, because I just went where nobody else
Yeah.
was. And and that was just one of them things, change your driving style.
Change
Here we
your
are.
driver's sign, make it work.
I mean, we won Farmer City the night before for 1,000. I went over there for 8,000 and never changed a damn thing.
Never changed a
That
thing.
still won, so that's what we could do back then. But they ain't happening no more.
Yeah,
It ain't
that's
happening.
man, that's crazy. How is it? I mean, tell me how's that feeling to be able to wrench on your son's car and now see him go out and, I mean, I don't mean to say dominate, but just kill him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people don't know. I told you I know him better than he thinks he does.
Yeah.
I think he did not want to race.
Really?
Did not want to race, and he wanted to play football.
Okay.
And he thought his sister was going to race. He was going to help her on her car.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, he would tell this to guys in the pit area when I would go help the modified guys, and he was little, and be sitting in their trailer having a pop and a hot dog or whatever. You going to drive a car like your dad? Nope.
No.
They look at him. I go, no, he ain't kidding. He don't want to race.
No kidding.
So we tried quarter midgets when he was, I don't think he's even 5 yet.
Okay.
Had some in the back lot back here. He's going around circles, and he drove straight in the back of my pickup truck, and he wanted nothing to do with it.
That was it.
He was kind of done. And then after I quit racing, and that was probably, well, let's see, be almost 3 years, close to 3 years later.
Yeah.
And I'd quit racing, and we're just kind of hanging out. Of course, the weekends are really bad when you're raced 30-some years and you don't know more. And we just happened to be sitting in the house, and actually it was World 100 weekend.
Okay.
And
you wasn't out the world. You're here.
no, I couldn't. I couldn't go to a late model race once I quit. I went to modified races
Okay.
to help my guys, but I couldn't go to a late model race. But we're sitting in there, and I had a quarter midget for my daughter too. Never had time to race with her. She was ready to race, didn't have time. So all I know is I asked him, I said, hey, let's go out there and see if you can fit in Sarah's car. And he said, Dad, you know I can't. Well, not 3 years ago when you was 2 foot tall, but,
Right.
you know, I think you can.
Right.
And I'm telling you what, the old boy's helping us up here. Fit right in this thing. I couldn't have put the seat and the steering in the thing any better if I tried.
Right.
Now, this thing's sat in the garage for like 3 years.
Okay.
Okay? Old stale gas. I aired the tires up real quick. I shoved
Fired
that
right
thing
up.
out of the garage, fired up.
Okay.
So he's out there in the front of the house going around in the grass. I have him going around a couple trees. Runs out of gas. I run down and get some before he loses his idea of doing it.
Yeah.
Jump back in. We go. And I said, what do you think? He goes, this is kind of fun. It's kind of cool. Okay. So my friend down the road here, they race quarter midgets, and they had a membership at Terre Haute, Indiana.
Okay.
So I called him. I said, hey, when's Terre Haute racing? He said, well, they race today. And I go, oh, I said, well, Bobby's in Sarah's quarter midget. I think we want to go to Terre Haute and try. He about, shit. He goes, what? And I said, yeah, how about that crap? So he goes, let's go tomorrow. So we loaded up, went over there, and he's zipping around this track, and I know nothing. He knows nothing about it. And some guy walks up and says, you know, you guys are on the novice track record right now on the clock. I go, what the hell's novice? I don't even know, didn't know. And so I pulled him in, and there was a restrictor in the carburetor, which I didn't know there was. The guy saw it sticking out, you know. He said, oh, it's a red one. That's a novice. Okay. Sent him back out, and he's still going around. Now, we don't know tires, air pressures, shit. So long story short, I asked the people, I go, how do you get him to race? And they said, well, you got to come next week and test, and you do the flags and yada, yada.
Right.
He said, then you got to do it 2 weeks in a row. All right. So I asked him when to do it, and he said, yeah. So we got Sarah's old suit and, of course, covered her name up, put his name on it, and stuck him back, went over there, and he did a whole, I mean, he's watched races since he's grown up, so he knew when to slow down on the yellow, knew when to stop on the red, knew what all the flags meant, didn't run over nobody, got in line. And then the lady come over. They had no clue who we were. Nobody knew. They're all sprint car midget people, so they didn't know late model guys.
Right.
And I said, so what's the chance of him racing next week? She goes, look, don't tell nobody, but I can tell this kid knows what he's doing. Just come on over.
Yeah.
He run second at the very first race.
Nice.
And it wasn't too long. He started winning races, and
Yeah.
next thing you know. So to get to the question, after 900 hours of me talking, sorry,
It's all right.
is it's great that he's doing this because he wasn't going to.
Yeah.
So to continue on doing what we're doing and to get to where we are is just like over the top.
Yeah.
It's great.
I remember, I mean, I know there was things my dad told me over the years. He said, I know you better than you think you know yourself. You know, I know when you're going to get upset, and I know what things are going to push your buttons and stuff. So I got to kind of figure you kind of know some of those same things. You know?
Yeah.
Not only that is you kind of know his characteristics and what he likes in a car.
Yeah.
So you kind of know what you need to tweak and adjust to that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of the things is habits and is pickiness is from me because I got him started that way.
Right.
From putting the seat in the right way.
He had a good teacher.
Well, yeah. I mean, because I went through this stuff. You know, I sit in a race car, my arms are stretched out. I'm in a seat, don't fit, and I can't hardly reach the pedal. I'm 6'2", I still can't reach the pedal because I'm stupid. Didn't know what I was doing. So I cut all that out of the way, and you get this done quick. And then the rest was just, you know, watch him go down the racetrack and then say, hey, okay, need to do this, need to do that. Then when it come hard racing time, it was like, okay, now I got to teach you how to race defense.
Yeah.
And then he started winter races. I go, now we're going to be offense and defense. You know what I'm saying? And so, it's just been a learning curve for both of us. And I was just trying to speed the process up because my 30-some years, I raced almost 22, 23 years before I went on the road.
Sure.
And I said, we can't waste that much time with you.
Yeah.
You know, we got to get this thing rolling because kind of like the Kenny Chesney song, Don't Blink.
Yeah.
100 years goes faster than you think.
It goes by quick.
Yeah, you're 30 years in this race and like, oh shit, I didn't win enough and I'm done. You know,
Right.
so I think we sped that up in a pretty good way.
I think you guys have done a great job.
Yeah.
I'm curious as to, I mean, I feel like I've seen in the last maybe 2 years a different Bobby Pierce in the car. Before, I feel like it was, man, he was that cushion driver. He had to have that cushion. He was on the top. He was banging boards, and that's how he was going to win. If that wasn't there, you're looking maybe somebody else is going to win. Mm-hmm. The last 2 years, that's not the case. Bobby has moved around, and he's able to win from anywhere, middle, bottom, wherever he needs to be.
Yeah.
He's not that driver he used to be. He's developed. He's maybe matured a little bit.
It's a combination of a few things there. Yeah, I mean his driving style. well, just learning more stuff about a race car. But we hit on something in the Pierce cars about 3 years ago that was just scratching the surface where he didn't have to bang the cushion if he didn't want to. We hadn't hit it right on the money, but we got it to where at least we were in the top 3 or 4, if not on the cushion. And he has did win a few on the bottom or right through the middle, but we hadn't really hit it dead on the money.
Yeah.
But when we got these cars here, I think, and his confidence in these cars and the confidence I had with Longhorn people, it's in a weird way, he probably could have done it in a Pierce car.
Yeah.
But in his mind, it was like, nah, this thing's faster up here.
Yeah.
Or I'm better off up here. Which is okay.
His style, and he likes it better.
Yeah, but now we can go either way if we have to. You see these things, and I was really wondering about these things running the cushion like they do, because I know how they're built. I know how some of the offset stuff is, and which makes it hard to run a cushion.
Right.
And it's not really the way I would do it.
Yeah.
But he's managed to figure it out.
He's figured it out.
I see him sometimes.
I think the combination of you both have got it figured out.
Oh yeah. But I watch him. He sometimes he tiptoes on that cushion where I've seen him bonsai it before in our car, because he knows what it will and won't do. And but no, and guys, look, he's 27. My God, he's almost 30. He's finally raced a while. It is a combination.
He's become a wheel man.
Yeah, and I think I'm glad his confidence is in these guys, which helps his confidence when he drives a race car too.
Speaking of your cars, are you still building cars?
Modifieds.
When
I told Longhorn I was going to do this deal with them, I told them, I said, we make this deal that we're offering the deal to you guys on what we're wanting to do, I will shut the late model business down today. Okay. Now, as far as rebuilds, of course, there's guys bringing rebuilds in, but the new car building is off the table, and we're just doing a modified thing right now.
How many modifieds do you guys build a year?
Well, like I said, back in the day, we was over 100 cars a year for like 5-6 years straight. It was a madhouse, and
out of a small shop like this, that's gotta be insane.
Yeah, it was. The only addition since then is this right here. But what you saw, you walked in, I had like 12, 13 guys working here. That's crazy. And I was with them every day working too, and it was just crazy. Run them in and out, run them out. But it backed off. I mean, if we do 20 cars right now, I don't care. That's fine. I mean, that's enough. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just turned 72 last week, and I'm
happy late one.
Racing them every day as much as I can. So I got one guy that's taking care of the jig room, and I got the office girl up front, and he's taking care of some setup stuff when guys called. He's raced mods. He's raced crate late models. So I mean, he's been around this stuff too. Yeah. So we're just kind of easing through it. Yeah. It's I ain't say we're gonna shut down tomorrow, but I mean we're not wide open like it used to be, and I'm fine with that.
Because your schedule's going to be, with your own race team for one, and then having a business and keeping cars going on top of that is just
and the first 5-6 years, he's raced. I was doing both. I mean, it was crazy, and we just about didn't go racing sometimes. We were just so busy in here, and when he got back from Dunn Benson, and that's when he bought all this stuff. And so this is what, fifth year on his own. So I mean, everything's his. Yeah. We had a couple, 3 wore out motors, and of course he had some wheels and parts left over. But I mean, we sold the hauler and everything when we went to Dunn Benson, and he got on the phone, called his sponsors, and wheeled and dealed, and here it is. So when I saw the first couple of years it was going to be okay, because I wasn't going to bail on him. I mean, like I told him, look, you can do this. That's why Bloomquist did it. That's why Moyer done it. That's why I tried to do it all them years on my own. Yeah. You're your own boss. You do what you want to do. You need to do this. And it was a big step for him. I knew it was. But I said, don't worry about it. Don't work. We're here. We'll figure it out. Yeah. So about the second year, going into third year, I saw he's going to be okay. Then I'm like, okay. We're where we need to be. Yeah, we're where we need to be. We got into this point. We're okay. And I just started slowing down some. Yeah. To be with him 24/7, because if he's going to do this right, I want to be with him all the way. Yeah. And then when it's gone, it's gone. When I'm over, it's over. We'll do it till I can't.
Do it till you can't.
That's right.
All right. Before we get to the end here, I want to know a little bit about Bob Pierce outside of the business, outside of the race cars. I love my Bob Pierce time at the end of the night when Bob comes up to me with a Mick Ultra. Hey, that's a good time. Tell me a little bit about that guy.
Well, I mean, shoot. Well, I can't say anymore. I've just been 150% race. Ever since I can remember.
So you haven't done, like Bobby said, you don't do a lot of hunting or fishing?
No.
What about sports? Are you any sports you like to watch?
No, and the only reason there is anything to do with sports, honestly, is when he played peanut football in junior high, I'd go to his practice and we'd go to the games, or I knew nothing. No. I mean, I didn't know what a first down was. I didn't know, like, they throw a yellow flag out on the field, and I go, where's the wrecker?
Is there a caution?
Somebody crashed, you know, and all these dads were out there going, do you want to do the sticks? I go, well, I ain't got no sticks. No.
How far apart do they need to go?
They tell me the guy on the side, I go, those things over there with that thing fall? I said, no, you don't want me over there. I don't. What? Because they thought I knew something about sports. I said, I know nothing about sports. My wife knows way more about sports than I do. Really? And the only reason I'm into it now besides that, Peyton Manning, I finally watched him throw a football and saw how good he was, so I got interested in Peyton Manning. And the only reason I like Mahomes because he throws crazy. You know, it's over his head, under his arm, around his head. But other than that, I don't really care. You know?
It's not a race car.
You ask my wife. She can tell me something right now. If it ain't got something to do with racing, I'll forget it.
Yeah.
It's
not important.
It ain't.
Yeah.
She will know when we got together what we're going to do when racing season ended, like usually after Phoenix City.
Yeah.
And I go, start tearing the car apart. We're getting ready to go to Florida in February.
Ready to go to Florida?
Well, we got a few months. I go, I don't care.
That's a short time.
She says, well, do you want to go hunting or fishing? I go,
no.
Nope, don't do that. She goes, where do you hang out? I go, shop. She goes, what'd you used to do? I go, before I met you, I guess I raced and drank beer and chased girls, but now I got you, so we're back to drinking and racing.
We can scratch one of those
off
the list.
Here we are. I go, now what do you want to do?
Now what do you want to do? I got the girl, so now we just drink beer.
And like I said, I'm 72, so from late 40s to 72, if that's all you do, what are you going to do now? I mean,
why change it?
Ain't no changing. Yeah. And I don't care if it's Christmas. I got to put a race on TV. Yeah. Everybody can be in one room watching the game.
So you're loving the streaming stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Love to be able to watch it?
Yeah.
Big fan?
All the time.
Nice.
All the time. I'm just an ate-up racer.
Okay. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
What about music? What's you got a favorite singer?
Not really a singer, but I'm into 70s stuff. You know, Doobie Brothers.
You used to be a drummer out here.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Well, see, I played in the band. See, so that we're starting another story here, but I'll do it real quick.
Go ahead.
Well, my uncle quit racing when I was 9 years old. It's like, what do we do now? What's the family do? And so now I'm going on like 11, almost 12 years old.
That's a little young to drink beer, but
yeah. Well, my dad was a drummer, but he passed away when I was really young. Okay. So I didn't know him, and I didn't really know he played drums, so they told me. But anyway, me and a couple guys got together, and I said, I think I can play drums. I heard my dad did, you know, so I got an old cheap drum set.
That means I can
too. Bang, bang.
Yeah.
And, you know, of course, everybody started picking. Bass player's real easy, blah, 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 and then, of course, got a rhythm guitar player. So we started this little three-piece band, turned into a four-piece band. Then he started playing garage parties, and long story short, by the year I got ready to race, we were traveling a lot. So I was like the oldest guy. I was 16 going on 17. We had 14 and 15-year-old guys in the band, so mom and dads had to haul them around.
Yeah.
I mean, we played all the high schools. We played YMCAs. We played the college over in Champaign, the college deals. We was in Terre Haute, Indiana. So we was getting to be pretty good. I mean, really pretty good. And the racing bug hit me, and I pretty much killed the band. I was the first one to break it up.
Killed it.
And a couple of them went off to do other things, some bigger bands, and did their thing like it did.
Beatles.
But I never really got away from it.
Okay.
I got into it again my second year racing with a small local band, played a bar, and then about every banquet, somebody would see me, I had to sit in and play drums. So like forever and ever, UMP banquets and whatever, I played drums. But so no, I just stayed into that kind of music, and I still do.
Yeah.
You know, but not big country. I like the modern country, like Garth Brooks kind of country. I like that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
But not the older. You're cheating heart kind of stuff. I wasn't big in that.
More of a Jason Aldean kind of.
Yeah, there you go. Something
that's
like
good
that.
stuff. I could see you listening to some Bob Seger, stuff like that.
Yep. Oh yeah. Play some Bob Seger stuff. Yeah. We did that.
We've got a classic rock station down in Cincinnati, the Fox.
Okay.
And that's my go-to. I mean, just all the golden the hits. But it's like I'm noticing now when I turn on and they're playing stuff that like when I was a kid, I'm like, man, that's not classic rock. That's not that old.
Yeah,
Wait
right.
a minute, maybe I'm just getting older here. So,
You're not that old, that's for sure.
yeah, not that old, but man, they're getting there. You know?
Right.
Cool. Bob, this has been amazing. Been a great, I'm sure we could probably sit for hours talking about stories and the ones that you got and the ones that got away and all that great stuff.
Like a couple times when Bloomquist used to stop here at my shop, we could tell about some of them stories back in the day.
Yeah. I'll hit pause and we'll talk about that here in a minute. We'll talk about that afterwards. Man, no, this has been great. I know you've raced a lot and family and stuff like that. Before we wrap things up, I mean, I'm sure you've got people that you need to thank as well to help get you guys to where you are now. Oh,
man. Well, naturally, all the Bobby sponsors right now that he's got. We've met them all together, except for a few of the newer sponsors. Bobby's picked up on his own. The social media he does is so great.
Yeah.
And so he hits a lot of these guys up and needs them. But like Hoker, we met him at Knoxville the year I think it was the year you won the World 100, and we hooked up with him at that time. So I got to know him right away with Bobby. And, of course, the Rio Grande sponsor on the nose, that is my cousin, Larry.
Okay.
That's his dad right there.
That was his dad. That's where the number 32
that's
came
32. From. That's my mom's brother, and
okay.
Larry is my first cousin. So he moved to Arizona years ago and started his companies out there, and we reunited almost 20-some years later.
Really?
And if it wouldn't have been for the NASCAR truck ride Bobby had with Mittler, we went to Phoenix, we might not have got back together.
Really?
So that's how it all kicked back off, and now he's one of our big sponsors and big supporters of Bobby's racing, but all the rest of them, like Carnegie Towing's a local buddy of ours. We've had a my car back in the day, and he's with Bobby. And Toyota Danville is from right there in Danville, which Bobby picked that up himself. And this I don't know. A lot of the product sponsors I had some of those on my car, so I got a lot of long history with a lot of them guys that still helped him and. Yeah, low voltage is one of the sponsors that Bobby just picked up, and he's what's that? Fettis. Oh, Volusia. Oh yeah. He was at Volusia at February here, and he got the grill out of Bobby's truck and whooped up some good food for us that night. That was pretty cool of him to do that. He just came in and said, "Hey, I'll grill if you guys want me to."
Yeah.
And
you gotta eat.
Yeah, just a lot of them people like that that comes in and hangs out and helps. It's really neat to have him all involved in his car.
That's awesome. Yeah. Again, Bob, man, I can't tell you this has been a huge honor. I appreciate this. I mean, from growing up, seeing some of the races and watching you grow and to where you guys are now, and I've been a big fan of both. And it's just, getting to come and set up camera and tell both you guys stories, man. It's been a great honor. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for your time and all that. And,
thanks for driving all the way over here, man. I know it's a long way. We've been that way quite a bit racing Florence, but
hey, sometimes it's worth it, right?
Yeah, that's right. Every time. About every time it is.
Every time it is.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. So again, hope you guys like this episode. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Don't forget, like, subscribe, all that great stuff, and check out the Smooth Operator track next time he's there. And I'll see you at the track next week. Thanks.